The Chevy High School Football Game of the Week is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, an American revolution. And by Comcast. It's Comcasting. Live from the battlefield in Tyrone, Georgia, Comcast presents the Chevrolet High School Football Game of the Week, where tonight the Whitewater Wildcats take on the Sandy Creek Fighting Patriots. And good evening, I'm Matt Stewart, joined by Chuck Oliver. And Chuck, one of the most pressing questions I've gotten all week is, where is Whitewater? It's one of the newest schools in metro Atlanta, so people don't know a whole lot about it, not to be confused with the amusement park in Cobb County. Whitewater High School is in Fayette County. This is just their 4th year of varsity football, but they've already been very successful, 22-8. Last year was their first year of a region schedule, playing in Region 2 Quad A. They went 7-4 last year, reached the first round of the playoffs, losing to Brunswick, and they're led by longtime coach Amos McCrary, who coached for 10 years at Creekside High School and was very successful.
And Matt, when you start a program, you're not just the coach, you're also the landscaper, the accountant, the fundraiser, motivational speaker. Coach McCrary has been all of that stuff, as well as a great coach on Friday night, really bringing up the level of this program in a very short amount of time.
Now, Sandy Creek has been a power in Fayette County for the better part of the last decade. Under the Walkers, first Rodney Walker and now his son, head coach Chip Walker. But the 2007 season did not start well for Sandy Creek. They were upset by McIntosh 16-10 in overtime in the opener, a McIntosh team that didn't win a game all of last year. Chuck, what happened?
Well, the Chiefs brought it last week on special teams. Again, the defense last week for Sandy Creek was tremendous. Shut down that McIntosh offense. Everything set an opening 90-yard kickoff return to start the season for McIntosh. That's just about the only offense and excitement that McIntosh had, but it was enough to hold up.
And as you take a look at the facts from last week's ball game, you see Sandy Creek dominated in every statistical category except return yards and, of course, the one that counts the most, and that is the final score. Now, the story within the story tonight, a couple of players to watch: Sandy Creek wide receiver Braxton Lane and Whitewater safety Chris Asbury.
Yeah, Braxton Lane, one of the best wide receivers, one of the speediest players we're going to see all year. Braxton Lane, a guy that runs a 4.31, just a tremendous player, but only a junior, so colleges, you got to hold off for a year on him.
And Asbury's a guy who had 3 interceptions in the loss for Whitewater to Noonan last week. He took one of them back for a touchdown. That was the only touchdown that the Wildcats scored in that ball game, and he also blocked a kick. And there is Asbury right there. A big week for him last week, although the Wildcats ended up losing to Noonan by a score of 21-13. It's Whitewater and Sandy Creek. We're back with the opening kickoff right after this timeout on the Chevy Game of the Week.
Go.
Stay tuned. It's coming up next. Whitewater versus Sandy Creek. Woo!
This moment is possible because this man was screened for colorectal cancer. It's the second leading cancer killer of men and women over 50, but it doesn't have to be. Screening for colorectal cancer saves lives. Both Doug and Susan were screened. In Doug's case, screening found precancerous polyps. He had no symptoms, so he had no idea there was anything wrong. Doug's doctor was able to remove the polyps before they turned into cancer. Think their granddaughter will become star of her college swim team? Now, chances are better than ever that Doug and Susan will be around to find out. Screening saves lives. If you're over 50, speak with your doctor and get screened for colorectal cancer.
The Chevy High School Football Game of the Week is brought to you by Chevrolet. Chevrolet, an American revolution. And we are live in Fayette County, Tyrone, Georgia to be exact, the campus of Sandy Creek High School. Tonight, the Fighting Patriots playing host to their Fayette County rival, the Whitewater Wildcats. The third member of our broadcast team is Brandon Adams, and he's down on the sideline. Brandon?
Well, guys, as you mentioned, high school football fans here at Fayette County have been able to watch a program be built from the ground up over the last 5 years with Whitewater and Coach Amos McCrary. But it's an interesting story about how he actually got here. See, he was at Creekside, a very successful program, a team that was in the state semifinals as recently as 2000. But he chose to walk away from there and leave one of the nation's premier prospects in Eric Berry because the new school, Whitewater, was playing a provisional schedule. That freed up his Friday nights and gave him a chance to watch his son play at nearby Stars Mill. In talking to Coach McCreary this week, we found out that opportunity was so important to him that he almost decided to quit coaching altogether. But he didn't have to do that. He was able to come here. And now his son's high school playing days are over, and Whitewater's provisional scheduling days are over. They're ready to be moving forward and be taken seriously, and they know that could start for them tonight with a win over a team like Sandy Creek. Guys, back to you.
All right, thank you, Brandon. We're just about set for the opening kickoff, and here's a look at the Sandy Creek Fighting Patriots. 2 region titles in their history, most recently coming in 2004, their last season. Last year, 7-4, lost in the first round of the state playoffs to Flowery Branch. Their best season came under Rodney Walker. That was Chip Walker's father. They went 11-1 that season, reaching the second round of the state playoffs in 2004. They are the host school here tonight. A nice crowd has gathered here just south of the Atlanta airport. The Fighting Patriots all in blue tonight, trimmed in red and white. And the Whitewater Wildcats in the white jerseys, trimmed in crimson and silver. Sandy Creek coming off that 16-10 overtime loss to McIntosh at McIntosh last Friday night. A real stunner for this program. While Whitewater was a 21-13 loser to Noonan. Had only 85 yards of total offense in that ball game, did not score a touchdown, and they'll be looking to get their offense untracked here tonight. This is the second all-time meeting between these two teams. They met for the first time a year ago with the Fighting Patriots defeating the Wildcats by a score of 13-10. And we are just about set for the opening kickoff. Standing deep for Whitewater is Thomas Frierson, flanked by Austin Faulkner and Zach Mann. And Zach Lopez is set to kick things off for the Fighting Patriots. Both teams looking to get into the win column here in 2007 after losing openers that they probably thought they had a chance to win. Kickoff's going to be taken by Faulkner at the 16-yard line. Faulkner with a hole right up the middle, breaks to the outside and trips over his own feet, crossing the 50-yard line. And Sandy Creek had to be thinking, not again. This happened last week against McIntosh, and Faulkner with a nice return across midfield.
Yeah, Faulkner gets it up near the 50, and who does he see waiting for him? The open arms of number 12, Braxton Lane, and trying to make a move on Lane. Well, Faulkner can't pull it off. He trips on the yard marker. He's down at the 47. That's where Whitewater's going to scrimmage.
Wildcats are led by the senior quarterback, David Bird. This is just the second senior class for this program. They started playing varsity football with a sophomore class, and last year was their first graduating class. Bird will be part of their second graduating class in program history. Handoff goes to the fullback, Colin Woody, and he runs into a brick wall there at the line of scrimmage. As we take a look at the Comcast on-demand starting lineup for the Wildcats on the offensive line: Frank Eubanks, Seth Wilkinson, Ryan Detmarine, Kyle Bowman, and Justin Forrester. And in the backfield, the split in Corey Ivy, the halfback Thomas Frierson, the fullback Colin Woody, the halfback Austin Faulkner, and the tight end is Daniel Hester. So a gain of only 2 on that play. He's going to bring up a 2nd down and 8 for the Wildcats at the 45-yard line. They did not spend a whole lot of time in Noonan Cougars territory last week, so this is something new for them to start this ball game. Pitch goes to Frierson. He fumbles the ball, and it is scooped up and going the other way. Running down the sideline, Isaiah Johnson will score the touchdown. Isaiah Johnson picks up the loose ball and runs approximately 50 yards for the score. And 1 minute and 10 seconds into this ball game, Sandy Creek has taken a 6-0 lead.
And Sandy Creek did a whole lot on this play right. The linebacker comes up, forces the pitch. The D-back gets the pitch man. And then you got a sophomore defensive back carrying the football down the field. That's going to be Isaiah Johnson, and he is in the end zone. That's a great way to get 6 points if you're Coach Walker.
So Zach Lopez is on for the PAT, and he puts it through, and Sandy Creek has taken a 7-0 lead on Whitewater. It was the big hit by the linebacker, Jordan Littlepage, who separated the running back from the ball. Isaiah Johnson was the man who came up with it and took it back 49 yards for the score.